Good evening, everybody. Welcome to League of Extraordinary Inventors. I'm your host, Mike from Faraday Research. Welcome to the show. It is Friday night, August 9th, 2024. Welcome to the show. We got a regular panel. We got Ben on. We got Nathan on. We got Philip on. And we have Lulu. Welcome to the show. How's everybody tonight?
Good.
Good.
Everybody's good. Had a productive week.
How you doing, everybody?
Good. I saw you were streaming videos this week. Is that you, Benefactor?
I had a couple of clips that I clipped from Nathan and I's podcast for Gerald. I plan on clipping, the best moments from, all of our shows and making like a little mini series out of it.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, I thought you were streaming some live experiment.
No, I will be actually. I'm setting up right now, so my audience can get a little peek of, my setup. I'm not getting any viewers right now, so maybe that'll spark somebody's interest.
Okay.
Yep. Just to let everybody know, live chat is open. So if you want to chit chat on our live stream, you can ask questions to our inventors. I guess we'll just go through our panel. Ben, what have you been working on this week?
This week I'm getting ready to get my coil back up because the reference circuit motor disconnected one of the leads. So I gotta get that back up so Monday we can show up the coil in its full glory for and be ready for our guest.
Awesome. Nathan, what have you been up to this week?
Winding 2 Tesla coils right now. So I'm building one that looks like a thing you would find in ancient Egypt. So I had to restructure it in CAD program and everything else. So you can't tell it's a Tesla coil. It just looks like kind of like a lamp, and it turns on and it goes out 3 or 4 feet. So if you're walking by with a light bulb, it'll just start turning on.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So awesome. Philip, any updates on your projects?
Actually, I've been working on my software C++ Superset. I updated it, and it's pretty powerful. And I'm trying to promote.
Oh yeah, I seen that post. Yeah, I seen that post you had on WhatsApp.
Yeah. So it's pretty powerful, and I keep updating it. And I had a talk with DDN. DDN is some big tech linked with NVDA.
Nice.
They're looking at the memory manager and stuff like that. So because the hard drive are using a garbage collector, and that's what I'm replacing. And my memory manager replaces the garbage collectors, and with SSD drive these days, they all use garbage collector, and I'm saying that I can speed that up, so to make it predictable. Cool. Yeah, so they're looking into that right now, but I had my 5 minutes of fame, so that's what I was looking for, I had my 5 minutes of fame with some big tech, so that's good. I was looking for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right on.
And my experiment is being prepared. The gallium vortex, the magnetohydrodynamics vortex of gallium is getting prepared this week. I was supposed to have initial result today, actually, but they're missing a piece, so that's going to be next week. So next week is going to be very interesting, so stay tuned for next week. I'm going to have the results of my experiment in a professional lab.
Right.
Oh, I'll be there. I'm excited. I'll be there with my popcorn, Phil.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Are you gonna present that on APEC, or you're just gonna do it here?
Well, I'll do it here first. APEC, it's an open lab, I think, on the day after. So I'll do it here. See if Tim is here, then I'm not gonna do it on APEC, but we'll see. But I'm looking for investors, obviously. Once I know it works, so I'm looking for investors. So obviously, I'm gonna broadcast it everywhere I can. So, so yeah, it's gonna be pretty much official next week. That I'm not delusional or anything like that. So
That's good. Lulu, what's happening with you? You're back home now, right?
Yes, I'm back home. I've been trying to retrieve data, like old videos, things from old devices, trying conversions between Android and Apple, which is possible to do. For some reason, they don't like each other. Let's just put it that
Yeah.
way. You know,
Yeah. Well, the Apple's always been like a proprietary software. I found, trying to integrate Apple and Android, it's like crap. Like it's almost next to impossible
you have to do
because,
formats to be able to transfer that.
it's
You need
not easy.
so some people say that Apple is crap or Microsoft is crap or whatever, and they're kind of extremists. But Microsoft is good for games and 3D rendering. The Mac is good for multimedia and connecting using a VPN on a Linux server. And
Yeah.
a Linux server is good for all the development and everything else, like when web hosting and things like that. So you can't say that well, Apple is crap or Microsoft is crap. They're all good. They're all good in their respective area. So if you
Yeah.
need to play games, obviously you're not gonna use Linux.
trying to
Yeah, they all have their place.
like
Yeah,
transfer
exactly.
like Android to Apple device is almost impossible. It needs a medium in between. Maybe like
Yeah, proprietary BS has got to go. But yeah, I agree.
yeah. I mean, it's a simple task. Talking about games, or we're not talking about like huge, data files or anything like that. Just important, a small thing. It still won't. It doesn't even recognize the existence of the device, even though it's connected through Wi-Fi. It's next to each other. It still does not recognize. So I got to figure out a different way of
So is it the Android that cannot connect or
yeah.
the
Yep, it's
okay?
an old Gorilla phone.
Um,
They're not like the some
Back
reason,
to the old USB stick.
but yeah, right can is the C drive. It
but there's Bluetooth and the
yeah,
Wi-Fi.
not seem to recognize that, like it cannot find the Bluetooth devices and
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Get the latest Bluetooth device because they keep updating the Bluetooth firmware, and the old Bluetooth, you can't update the firmware on it. You have to buy a new Bluetooth device. You have to look at the year the Bluetooth code came out or whatever. Like this year, they came out with a new Bluetooth code. I had to throw out my old headphones.
is it like the trust certificate expired for that like Bluetooth
No,
code?
no, the old Bluetooth still works. It just has compatibility issues when you plug in more than one Bluetooth device, and they start knocking each other off the networks and causing all kinds of problems.
Maybe
And
that
then you got to. I'm talking about your Bluetooth transmitter, the one that connects your computer to all your devices. That's the thing you got to get the latest year model or whatever.
So can you pull all your videos off on a card, or just put them on the computer and then go over to some site and convert?
No, I don't. If you want to use the site, but they'll have all your photos and stuff.
that because then they can track it back from the ID of the like the file name, and they could go into whatever device and delete it off of there. Because I had already transferred it a while back to an Apple device, but it's nowhere to be found. Somebody hacked their way in and deleted it. This is the only safest device that I have now with the videos on it. Other like anything I try to integrate it or create a file and send it, it's being deleted. But this one,
So
this one doesn't have a network on it yet. The only network that's on it is my network. But if I connect it to the carrier, like if I take the chip out of my cell phone and put it back in this one, they'll delete it. The second that it hits a carrier signal, it's gone.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I was just wondering, like, usually I download everything to my computer, and then if I have to put it over to an Apple, I just use the conversion software to do it in my computer, not on my phone. So it goes a lot faster.
Is the conversion software like stationary to your like on the computer? You have to go through the web to a server for it to work. Like
You know, to be honest with you, it might be something like that. It's like a in your browser kind of thing.
then they have access to it. Just
Yeah.
But
Even-
the Wi-Fi works on your Android. The Wi-Fi works.
on my it says low connectivity.
Okay, but you can browse the internet using the Wi-Fi.
I don't know. Let me try it.
So 5.4 is the latest Bluetooth
Okay, let's
version.
try YouTube. Let's see YouTube. Let's see if it logs. No.
How about your hub for the house for your internet? Is that fairly new, or is that an older hub?
Yeah, that's very the Xfinity, and they sent me the device less than maybe a month ago.
Okay, so it's the latest.
Yeah.
I just find when it comes down to reliability and being able to jumble files between old phones and PCs, I just find the Android just is way better than the Apple for some reason. Like
You might
Linux
try
is even better.
replacing the wireless location for make sure it's not sitting somewhere near like an electrical panel or something, or a light bulb that's really bright. That
No,
EMF will screw up the signal.
no, I have it in the game room, but it's nothing. It's not close to anything. It's just
But on the Android, there's an application
there-
called the ES File Browser. You can create a little server and you can connect your computer to the little server to transfer files back and forth to and from the
what is it called?
iPhone to your computer. It's a ES File Explorer, but that's for the iPhone. But they probably have it for the Android as well.
I'll look into that.
Is it just an app or?
Yeah, it's an app. It creates a little server, so you can connect like 192.168 dot whatever the address is,
Right.
and you transfer files from your computer back and forth.
Yeah, I'll have to look.
The only problem I
Yeah.
ever had with Wi-Fi is I had a breaker panel in the way of where I was, it was like in the line of sight, and it was blocking the signal to get into a certain area.
Yep, that'll
Right.
do that. You got
Oh,
the
that's
60
pretty cool.
hertz reliable.
I see benefactor what you're doing. The other guy was doing it also on
Who,
what's
Ken
his
Wheeler?
name?
Ken Wheeler?
Ken Wheeler, yeah.
Yeah. You can make the ferro cell. Actually, that's one thing I want to build. Is a ferro cell, and you could actually it helps you map out magnetic fields. Oh, I just want to show everybody really quick before I forget. This is the power cell that I'm working on. So you can kind of get an idea. I can't talk about what's on the inside, but this is a 4x4 panel. Very high grade graphite panels.
Okay, so you have your graphite finally.
Yeah, I got samples right now, but the problem is a lot of to source out a lot of this stuff is military grade. So to the general public, stuff like this is almost next to impossible to get for like a decent price. So I'm trying to figure out a way of fabricating my own plates. So I'm getting close to doing some tests on that. And if I can get past that barrier, making the cells is easy. It's the plates. They're so hard to get, right?
Yeah.
And most of the ones that are on the consumer market are this big. So that's not going to work,
Yeah.
right? I want to make 12 by 12 plates. The bigger surface area that you have for these power cells, the more current you can create.
Yeah.
Also, with my small ones, I was getting over 2 amps. My partner that I'm working on the project with, he used a 13 by 13 sheet, and he got over 17 amps coming out of it. So that's a huge amount of power.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the big hurdle I'm working with right now. Just if I can fabricate my own plates, I have a couple of really cool ideas that I could actually make any size I want for like pennies on the dollar compared to buying it, military grade graphite. Yeah.
Mikey, go sit down.
Oh, I forgot to add, Mike, what have you been working on this week?
Just ideas, brainstorming, and I have a good one for a relay that turns off the electromagnet as soon as it turns on, and repeats that over and over again. So I want to use 2 coils that have about 500 or more ohms on them. So I use no current, and I want to put like 40 volts through it and pulse the 2 coils with this relay, up and down kind of relay. With it triggers 2 power sources onto 2 loads, back and forth. It's a relay. And I'm gonna just probably start with that relay, and then I'm gonna look for some pre-made coils that are already like 500 or more ohms on them to test out a high frequency switching on these 2 coils between them, back and forth. I want to do high frequency without burning out the transistor, so that's why I'm going with a high impedance coil, just to, lose the amps.
Very cool.
So,
the switching will be mechanical, not transistors. So,
yeah, I've been doing a lot of studying on the N and P channel MOSFETs, what they're actually using in those chips. They're using silicon carbide. So I've been studying silicon carbide, which is one of the components that I'm using in the power cells. So you might want to look up on that too, Mike. That might actually help you out with some of your stuff.
For the contacts?
Just as the semiconductor, but they use them in the N channel and P channel MOSFETs. That's what.
No, I'm going with this relay mechanical switch. I'm not using a transistor on this guy because it's not needed, because there's.
Well, I'm thinking.
I can't do it with transistors. It's too difficult. You need 4 of them and a bunch of circuitry, and I could just make the relay, and it's just easier with the relay.
Now, also too, they're very good for. Apparently, they use them in diodes as well.
Yeah,
gating.
I mean, the transistors, I'll use that for other thing, but I want to do the relay because I can't blow it. It'll never blow out, and it's going to be getting high frequency spikes across it. I'm a little bit worried about doing all this work with the 4 transistors and all the wiring of all that, getting it working, and then it just keeps blowing out on me. If I do the relay to do the function of what the transistors will do, there's no risk of burning out the relay. And I could push it, I could push the frequency and the voltage without worrying about burning out parts and having to rebuild it all over and over again,
Right.
It's just, the transistors, I'm going to only use those for things that I'm sure are set. The circuit's set, it's not going to be changed, and it's not going to burn out. And then I'll go with a transistor for that, But for an experiment, I think the relay is more reliable for me.
Yeah.
To experiment with.
Even in my pulse motors, the relay has been far surpasses the reliability.
You can push them.
Yeah. That's right. Where, like, I've blown so many circuits, and the second I hook up my relay to it, all my problems disappear.
Right. The things that people don't know is that your transistor will go bad and keep working, and you'll think everything's fine, and you're having a little bit of a problem, and you can't understand why it's not quite performing like it was, because the transistor is slightly damaged, and you just don't realize it.
Yeah, exactly.
You won't get that with a mechanical switch.
That's right. Yeah, I've put my switches through hell and back, and they keep chugging along. As long as that carbon, no, it's true. As long as I keep that carbon contact point, if that
You just
stays
clean it up.
healthy,
Right.
you just clean it up and you're back to on the way again and you can run it. That's why I live by these little relay switches. They're great. And
I
they're
figure
very
if
cheap,
once you
too.
get your thing figured out with the relay and you're comfortable with your voltage and your current and all that, then put the transistor in its place.
Yeah,
Save yourself a headache of not knowing what's going on because one of your transistors is slightly damaged.
Yeah.
Once that happens, you can't. The experiment's over. You got to change the transistor.
Yeah. And I've blown enough up to like I've actually dead shorted my relay on a couple of occasions, and to the point where I actually almost had to pry it open with a screwdriver, and then I just let it cool down, and boom, fire it right back up. She goes right back on again. She just keeps
Don't
going.
do that, but it's still slightly damaged. You just don't know.
Yeah, there is thermal damage after that point, but with my
You
relay,
can put the oscilloscope on there and zoom in real good, and you may see it, in the signal or something.
Yeah.
What is
Just
Ben doing?
I don't know.
He gave us a thumbs up. I don't know if he's trying to start this thing up or what. I just see it. I see his butt come across the screen every once in a while, and then
That's right.
I see a coil, and I'm like, okay, what are we doing?
Oh, the thumbs up, it means it's just set up. That's all. I got it angled properly.
You got it set up. Okay.
Well, at least he's got his lab coat on, so we're not getting
Oh yeah.
Always. We're not getting full butt in the screen.
Yeah, that prevents the butt crack syndrome or whatever.
Wow. Oh.
Yeah.
Or
You never know what happens on this show.
Yeah. No kidding. Hey, Ben, did you ever get anything like an oscilloscope or a cheap little one or anything like that?
Not yet, but I can hook it up to the laptop, can I?
I got a couple small ones that I got on Amazon. I usually use those if I'm doing an experiment and I don't know if it's going to blow the snot out of it. So I used the little cheap $60 ones.
Yeah,
but I have a really nice one though.
All I would need to hook it up to the laptop is an audio cable, right? With a left and a right channel.
Yeah.
We're talking about different things altogether right now. We're on the other side where the oscilloscope tells you what you're doing and everything else. It shows you everything. You're talking about the going into signal.
We're talking about the output. Okay.
No, not necessarily the output, but like a sitting next to it kind of thing and reading everything that's coming out of it. Like, for instance, when I set mine up, there's just a little wire sitting there, and you connect your little probe to it, and it'll tell you everything on your oscilloscope of what's going on next to your device.
Yeah, actually, the oscilloscope I have, I just put the probe like next to it, and it picks it up. I don't even have to physically attach it to a wire. It actually picks up the field, I guess, coming off the machine. I just put the probes right next to it. I don't even half the time I don't even have to connect it. It's picking it up.
That happens. I mean, if you got enough power, coming through it,
Well, especially with the transducer. Oh yeah, it picks it up like no problem.
Maybe that's what it is. The transducer. It's
it's picking up that signal. Yeah, it's high frequency, right? So it's picking it up. Even with my voice, if I'm close enough to that probe, it actually starts picking up my voice. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's nice. If I get a second later, I'll show you.
Well, you got to keep in mind, attached to that probe is an inductor sensor, a coil sensing the tiniest vibrations hitting the metal on the tip of that probe.
Yeah,
you don't necessarily. Right. I mean, aerial vibrations too.
Yeah, it picks it up.
I've seen a guy hook a speaker to it, and it was able to pick it up like a microphone.
Sure. Yeah. essentially that's what it is. It's you know, you get the vibration, and that goes through a coil and a magnet. It produces electrical current. Since
You're
that,
talking about the oscilloscope, right?
no, I'm talking about just a speaker. You know, the speaker could actually create a signal for you. Since
No, I
that
mean,
diaphragm
earlier
starts
you guys
moving
were
up-
talking about the oscilloscope, right?
Yeah, no, but it's kind of related to it because there's a coil, like you said, inside the probe, right? So it doesn't actually physically have to be attached, just in the proximity of the device. It's going to pick it up.
Yeah. Well, I'd seen a guy
Yeah.
take the little speaker and he connected it directly to his oscilloscope probe, and he struck a tuning fork, and it showed up all over his oscilloscope exactly the correct frequency.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I've
the
gotten
speaker is a coil with two ends of that coil are attached to the diaphragm of that speaker.
That's right.
Transmits the vibrations. It's the most basic advice. The most basic device that people do not grasp, and I include myself in that. You know, until not far recent from today, but yeah, it's just a coil attached to a paper diaphragm.
Yeah.
There's nothing complicated about it. Like the can thing with the rope. It's
Exactly.
pretty much the same thing, just a little bit more well put together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's using Faraday's law, right? You know, you vibrate or move a magnet in a coil, you generate electricity, right?
Yeah.
So
The coil just transmitting the vibrations everywhere you look. You know, they're just using it for that. You know,
it's Well, it's doing the from the physical vibration into electrical conversion.
right?
That creates,
Your
right?
chips or whatever translate that data for you.
That's right. But the oscilloscope picks that all up. I love the oscilloscope. It's handy for so many things.
Yeah.
They translate the voltage differences in the coil. And
Yeah, I think my probe is it goes times 1 times 10 times 100, I believe.
that's
So you
that's
can adjust.
the,
You can,
that's the best you can get right there. They don't have. I don't think there is
Yeah.
a 200. Is there? No.
no, I've never seen a 200. I know it goes to 100.
Right.
So it's a little switch on the probe itself. You can flip it, you know, depending on, you know, how much power you're putting into it.
It's been so long since I actually worked with a you know, a full scale scope. I have
Yeah, I gotta
worked with the
believe.
little handheld ones. I think they only do times 10.
Yeah, mine goes up to 100, I believe, times.
That's what I
Times
have on
100,
mine.
right? Yeah, so the handheld ones only do times 10. If you want times 100, I think it looks like you got to get the
You need the full size one, yeah.
full scale one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But times 10 is what you use for just about everything, isn't it?
Oh, you could use time 10 too. Just get the calculator and multiply that times 100, and you can figure
Yeah,
out.
I got the latest Handtech oscilloscope. It's a 2-channel. It also has signal generator built in it, full mapping and recording capabilities in it. Beautiful digital screen. It's nice, like for a modern. And actually, one of my Patreons bought it for me. It's a $300 machine.
Wow.
So he actually bought it for me and sent it to me via UPS. I was like, holy cow, this is beautiful. I was like,
Yeah. I
Thank
got
you.
the cheaper version of that, of the Handtech. I just got the $250 version.
Is that the
So-
brand Handtech?
Yeah.
Handtech, yeah.
Is
Yeah,
that
I
like
have
the brand you guys
mine's-
prefer, or?
Well, it was just the one he gave me, so I didn't really have a choice in the matter. But I'll accept any things somebody sends me out of their kindness, right? Mine's the DSO model,
Nice.
Handtech DSO 6053 or something. I've got it in my back room there.
Yeah, I would have
Yeah,
saved a lot of money on a signal generator just having it integrated.
Yeah,
We got an
mine's
incoming
built in it.
message from Crypto, if you want me to read it.
Oh, okay.
He said, real quick, I'm putting together a real science free Energy Friday stream after this if you want to join in.
Amen.
Yeah, he's planning on being part of Mike's account, but only 6 people. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I know
what I'm
limitations.
I'm limited. So if you guys after here want to jump over to Bernie's and do a show with him,
Yeah, well, I'll raid his stream and then we'll just continue it as one long stream.
Yeah.
Is it Bernie or
Like-
Aliens? Jeremy?
No, it's Bernie. But he
Bernie.
sent me a message, but I already had 6 people on, and it's like, oh man, I can't even add him. Like I just sent him a link late. I totally forgot. My apologies. But yeah, so yeah, after I shut down at 11, then you guys can. I might even jump on there too for a little bit and carry on Bernie's channel. I just I find I like with 6 people, I find we get more of a thorough conversation. You know, I don't mind the big platform, but you know, the big platform, it gets really hard to actually make comments or make your points. It's jumping around too much. But regardless, you have to I'll go on. Yeah. So
speaking of scopes, Mike, I wanted to mention something. I have an old school scope from the 50s. I'm pretty sure it works. I'm going to bring that out on the camera and show you guys when I get access to it again. It's at another location.
That'd be cool.
It has
they're out there.
Transmitter also. It was for, I think it's a thing that the Army used to transmit.
Yeah, the Army. Oh, was it actually a transmitter or a oscilloscope?
Yeah. On the back of it, it has an attachment for an antenna to transmit, and an input for your microphone. It also has, it's a oscilloscope and a radio transmitter built in one.
That's
Signal.
cool.
Wow.
Old
Just
school.
like the one you just got, the new model, hand tech or whatever, signal generator built in.
Yeah, mine's built in it. Yep.
That means yours can also transmit a radio station if you wanted to. I don't know how many amps you got behind that, but
offhand I don't know. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, find out the amps and you know how far you can transmit. Probably within the FCC regulations.
That's great. Yeah, I get the FCC at my front doorstep for transmitting.
No, I mean, if your amps are low enough, you're within the code. You don't have to worry about it. You don't I think you can go like 5 miles.
You see that little truck rolling by the street?
I'll have that guy in a black van with an antenna on it looking for somebody.
Right, yeah. Scanning for where's this frequency coming from?
It's only if you're on another frequency that's already reserved from,
well, I'm pretty.
If you're overstepping somebody else
within your range, that is.
Oh, it doesn't matter. You hijack any radio frequency, that's federal offense.
Yeah, but you're not going to be able to do that unless the station is close by you. Your transmitter only has like 2 amps. It's not going to reach.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. As soon as you hijack one of the owned radio frequencies, that's violation of FCC code. I don't know how strict it is in the US. I know in Canada they'll throw you in the brig.
It's pretty strict here too. Yeah.
You mean you can't use the radio station code anywhere if you're not? Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right about that. Yeah, you can.
Oh no. You do that in the UK.
But you can use another frequency that's not registered, as long as you don't go over 10 miles. I think something like that.
Maybe. I don't know exactly what the
Canadian code says. I think you have to have a license
says.
Because I know somebody who got in trouble for broadcasting their own radio station locally.
Yeah, that's called
pirate radio. Over 10 miles. Yeah. Their transmitter had more than 10-mile range.
Old school UHF or something.
Something.
Yeah,
back in the 80s.
That's called pirate radio, man.
Yeah.
He had the truck coming down the street with the scanning for the signals. They came to his door and they're like, "Do you know anybody broadcasting a frequency?" He's like, "Nope."
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to do AM. I want to do AM. Global
AM.
There's no FCC with AM. I don't think. Is there?
Oh yeah, in Canada there is. Yeah. Oh yeah.
For AM.
Any kind of. See, the government doesn't want people to have CB radio. Okay, CB radio is really starting to fade out, especially here in Canada. They don't want CB radio because the FCC cannot regulate it.
Yeah,
it's an open band. CB is the way to go. Like even now, they're attacking ham radio operators in Canada.
Yeah,
they don't
buy a transmitter now while you still can.
Yeah, well, that's it, right? Because like ham radio, you still have to have a license. But in Canada, I know they want to ban it. They don't want it here because the fact that you could broadcast over the airwaves. Anybody who has a shortwave radio can pick you up,
Right.
right? Like I remember back in the day, my father bought me once for Christmas. It was a regular AM/FM radio, but it also had shortwave, and I could get stations in Germany and England and Switzerland, all over the planet, all over, right?
Are all the bands regulated? Every one of them?
Yeah, they're licensed in your jurisdiction. Yeah, you have to go under their FCC code, and it's
What about
even
those-
shortwave?
What about the truckers' radios?
well, that's what we were saying about the CB radio. They want to get rid of that because they can't control it. There's no way to actually control CB.
They don't want us communicating openly in any way.
That's right.
I mean, it's an open source communication platform, CB. There's no encryption on it.
It's called transmitting tyranny is what it is. They want full control over the airwaves. That's tyranny.
It's no different than the Nazi days with Hitler and his
well,
what's the guy?
There's actually
the propaganda guy. What's his name? Sterling or whatever.
Right. There's a good movie. I'm not sure if it's on Netflix or on Prime. The movie's called Pirate Radio. It's about these group of guys that lived in Britain back in the 60s when rock music was illegal to be broadcasted in Britain. So what they did was they got a boat and actually built an FM transmitter on the boat and started broadcasting rock and roll from the ocean. So it's a true story. You got to watch it.
Is that where the casinos got the idea?
What's the casino have to do with it?
You know, down here in Florida, casinos used to be illegal, so they would go out on the boat to gamble. Now, So back in the 50s and early 60s, when rock and roll was illegal to be broadcasted on British radio, these guys got a ship together, put the FM or AM transmitter on the boat, and start broadcasting from the sea. Because they're out of the country technically at 200 nautical miles. So they started doing this, and the British government eventually shut them down. But they got away with it for a while there. It was a good story. You should actually try to find it. It was called Pirate Radio.
Well, when there's a boat, there's a way.
Yeah. But that's the thing with CB radio. Like if I had the chance now, I would actually buy a CB radio for the fact that you could actually broadcast it. It doesn't fall really under any FCC laws. I don't know how it is in the US, but I know here they have no way to control it. There is no control over CB.
But if they find you use reserve frequencies, they might.
Well, you just don't broadcast. You just don't broadcast your name. Yeah, my name is so and so. I live at this address.
Right, that's the only way they can locate you with AM and shortwave. But if you're using FM, they can triangulate you.
Yeah, they can triangulate.
I have a question. Why don't you just apply for a license? I applied once. They gave it to me. I have the certificate for owning a radio signal.
It depends where you live.
I live in Houston. So they gave it to me. I applied for it. I waited for a few days, and then they sent me like the certificate of ownership for it. It wasn't that difficult.
Is it free?
Yeah, you just apply for it, and you put your real information, and they send it to you. I don't know if it's expired now, but yeah, I had it before.
Was it FM? Do you remember what it was? FM, AM?
I don't know. I didn't know
Probably
how to.
FM.
I just followed the link, and I through the website, and I put my information. I followed, and they sent me the email.
Texas is liberal though.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but I mean, it
I
wasn't.
think if they were to control the media and information, Texas would be the last place to go down in that regard.
Man,
Because it's the most liberal
yeah.
place on earth when it comes to. I mean, look at Alex Jones. You know, he's out of Texas. All the most liberal media is out of Texas.
Here, open
I
state. You can own.
I heard Houston is different from other places in Texas. Like San. Well, what's the name? Sound something. But
Texas is
Houston is very
liberal.
liberal, but the other places are more open.
Guys, I'm just
With
guys, I'm just gonna
with rights and stuff. Like what do you call it?
I'm
The
just
United
gonna
States rights. The constitutional stuff. That's what they're liberal with in Texas.
I'm just gonna scoot out for a cigarette. I'll be right back.
Okay.
But if you get caught, with illegal drugs, that's not what they're cool with. When it comes to like constitutional rights in Texas, that's the thing that they are pretty strong on that, more than anywhere else in the country. But I wouldn't say that you could go around, with a marijuana joint and get away with it.
No, they're bought out. The police are bought out. I've seen it with my own eyes. They protect certain places where they run the business. You see cops there. The delivery needs to happen. They escort that person to wherever that they're all bought out. They're all crooked. All of
I
them.
don't even know if Texas has medical marijuana yet, do they?
It's like you could see, like in Harris County, you're allowed to have marijuana with you, like I think less than maybe a gram or two or something like that. Yeah.
You have to have a license for it?
Nope, no license.
Oh, then they're more liberal than Florida. Looks like Florida's more strict.
Yeah, but you go to Montgomery County, it's not allowed. You have to buy the stuff from the store if you want it. Like that, I don't know what it's called, but the
dispensary.
Yeah.
Yeah, dispensary. They're all over California. There's signs everywhere for this stuff.
Yeah.
What is the dispensary?
Yeah, they legalized marijuana in the United States recently, and
called Delta.
to some degree.
Yeah, but in the United States, if you get arrested by a federal cop, it's still illegal.
Yep.
That's
so
true.
The laws they overlap, and if you're Canadian, it's still illegal at the federal level. So if I smoke weed all the time,
not if you have a license, not if you have a medical license.
Yeah, but if I don't, if I smoke weed all the time and I try to cross the border, I'll be stopped because the border is.
Yeah, Europe doesn't have, or you're in Canada, right? Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know if Canada has medical marijuana or not.
Yeah, we do, but if it's not medical, then you're screwed. You can't cross the border.
Right. Yeah, you got to have your license.
I wouldn't bring pot to the border ever.
Man,
you wouldn't need to with a license.
Yeah, no chance of that.
You get it on the other side.
Dude, with me on a plane, nobody said anything. I put it in little capsule pills, like the ones that are used, like you take apart, you throw out the stuff from there, you put it in the middle, and you capsulate them back, and you put them to look like vitamins. Nobody said anything.
Yeah, that's just too much work.
But I did it. It worked.
Yeah.
Okay, but that was many years ago. Many years ago. So it could be, security could have been much more lenient then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
now
here they don't care here. Right.
And I stopped doing all that stuff. It was
but I'm wondering how could Snoop Dogg was able to get out of the United States to the Olympics.
He has his own jet. He's got his own plane. That's how.
Yeah, but he can't get out of the United States with all the weed that he.
Yeah, he can. He's got his own plane.
No, you can't. As soon as you get there, if they want to search the plane, you get arrested because you're subject to the laws of where you went.
Yeah.
These guys are so rich to the point they could buy anybody off.
You gotta hide it and then not let the dogs smell it. There's a whole process there, and that stuff stinks like crazy nowadays. Because, well, at least here they don't care, so it smells like high heaven everywhere.
Real quick, I gotta leave in a few minutes to drop my girlfriend off.
If you put tomato juice on it, you disable the dogs' scent, like they can't smell it. Once you rub it with tomato juice, they can't smell it afterwards.
Huh.
Yeah.
So. Kind of like the skunk smell, huh? You just put the tomato sauce all over.
Yeah, it's the same idea. Tomato juice kills a lot of these scents. Like they can't even smell anymore.
Yeah. So funny. Yeah, I once had a trip one time. Yeah, I smoked a lot of pot, and then I got in my truck and I was driving, and I just had to stop. It felt like I was in warp speed. The lights were coming by me. It was like a 70s disco or something, man. It was like, wow. And I'm like, dude, I just got to pull over. I just can't do it. Like I'm going like 2 miles an hour probably on this street, and I'm going, it's just not working, man. I just got to stop. So I pulled over, and man, I just waited until it went away enough where I could drive again. It was bad. I should have never been there.
That's a great story.
I was Captain Kirk for a while, man. I was going warp speed.
I stopped all that stuff.
Nathan's gonna light up when he gets his UFO running.
Yeah. That's all I need, man. I have a UFO in the front yard and a cop, and I'm smoking weed. You want some, pal?
For real.
Yeah, he's like,
I don't think the cop's gonna see the weed.
If anything, UFOs are attracted to this stuff. They really are. Like if you know, I don't know if when a person's high, they see them better because it alters the frequency. Because in our natural state we see the regular spectrum, but when we alter our state a bit, we see
you can unfilter
spectrum.
it. Yeah,
we see a different spectrum. So I believe that they, make it illegal because they do not want us to see that spectrum. And when we they call people druggies, or they call them they say they have mental issues or this, until you catch it on a real video, and then nobody could say otherwise. Like, it's on a video, so it's not something that anybody imagined, or
well, if you look at the history of cannabis, it has been used by every culture in the history, in documented history, for medicine. The ancients used to call it the omnicure because it was useful for so many ailments.
It cures cancer. Did you know that? It cures cancer.
Some forms, yes. It can treat some forms of cancer. Not all forms, though.
I mean,
caffeine.
It's good enough for whatever forms it treats. That's
right. At least from the scientific research, maybe there's more forms that we don't know about scientifically, like based on the research. Though it does reduce the size of some
Quitting
tumors.
sugar cures cancer.
Caffeine prevents cancer a lot as well. So just go ahead and drink coffee if you don't want cancer.
Not.
But just look at what your body does with cannabis. It stores it in the fat cells, whereas other substances, it pushes it out right away. It utilizes it for a reason.
Promoting smoking or anything. If you smoke, you never have Alzheimer's. Did you know that? You'll never have Alzheimer's. One fact of for smokers, statistics say smokers do not get Alzheimer's. So not promoting it, but just it's a fact.
They pretty much figure you had too much time and space already, so you don't need it in the elderly life. Is that what it is? You already got enough time built up.
One thing that I found out cures cancer too is plum seed. Apparently, you dry it up, crush it up into small pieces. This guy, he's been on YouTube. He's been on a few podcasts. He had stage 4 cancer. It was basically just riddled all over his body. Said he had about 3 months left to live. He got plum seeds and crushed them up, baked them in the oven, and then you start putting it in yogurt every morning. But but what I'm saying is there are natural methods, and apparently it cured him. A lot of people have jumped on his bandwagon and following him, and there's been numerous accounts that people's cancers have been cured.
I give you my theory on
natural.
I give you my perspective on cancer. It's coming from plant toxins. Done. Next.
It's a fungus. That's what cancer
well,
is.
fungus breaks down plants, It's a plant toxin. Fungus is part of the breakdown process of plant matter, not animal matter. Fungus does not break down animal matter. No. Plant matter.
Yes, that's interesting because when you get cannabis that is tainted or not grown in a sterile environment, oftentimes it'll give you a headache because it has fungus on it or mold.
It's unfortunate for those who love animals and don't want to eat them, but they are the cleanest source of food on this planet.
I
We
mean,
will.
it's the chain of life, but if we do it ethically, I don't think there's then an issue there because we've evolved to eat animals.
That's the
Animals
relay,
evolved
Mike.
to eat themselves, other animals.
There's Mike. You got something there you want to show us on the screen?
Yeah, that's the relay I was talking about. The solid state relay uses a magnet, and the
Oh.
electromagnet core, it uses the field that your electromagnet puts off to trigger it, to move it, and do the switching.
So Scott, what are those double lines, those parallel lines on each side?
The orange 2 long bars are just contact bars sandwiched in between 2 magnets, insulated between themselves and the magnets. So you don't,
And at the tips?
At the tips, those are just those black dots represent contact points.
For like a battery or something?
It's a relay for contacts. So when if you play the video, I explained the whole thing.
Play the video.
About 15 minutes. Let me get back to this. And if you have any questions, ask me. While I'm explaining.
I gotta go drop off my girlfriend, but I'll be back in like 10 minutes. But I'll still be watching.
All right.
So this is a relay. I'm going to point out the parts in here first. I like turn this on. This is a.
Yeah. Well, what is the purpose?
The purpose of this relay is to be able to switch 2 power supplies into 2 loads in series.
2 separate channels. 2 separate channels.
It's a double source, double pole throw. Does that make sense? It's throwing 2 poles, the plus and the minus, on one source. At the bottom, if you look at the bottom to the left where it says in, plus and minus,
right,
and then the bottom right it says out, plus and minus. Well, that's when the magnet gets pulled down, those 2 bars pull down
together,
on those 4 contacts, and they send your power from the left to the right. And then the electromagnet will turn on. Okay, that's the default on position right there. So when you plug it in, it's on. And as soon as you plug it in, the electromagnet generates a field and it pushes the magnet up away from the bars at the bottom and disconnects the whatever load you had there, and now connects the next set of bars at the top to the next load. So I thought up this design here to be able to mechanically switch 2 coils in series, not simultaneously, in series, and to do that, the flyback thing.
What are the expected loads?
Oh, so the relay contacts can be as big as you want them to be to handle, whatever load you want. But I'm not going to be pulling a lot of load on this. I plan on using like a 500 ohm coil or more.
I meant to ask you, what are you doing presently with your Newman motor? Because I know you made one.
Yeah, I got it running, and now I'm just focused on building a better stator pickup coil with more thickness to it and to put out a higher voltage. I was getting 2 volts on the stator coil that I did make for it, but that stator is not thick enough. It's about a little under half an inch too thin for the picking up the magnet that's passing by it, because the magnet that passes by it is like 1 inch thick. So I need like a half-inch thick stator coil to get the full field.
So you have to go to like an 18 gauge wire or even bigger.
No, I'm going to keep it thin so I can have more turns, like 28 gauge. I'm going to keep it like that.
Yeah, you'll get the voltage, but you won't have the current. If you want more current, then you'll have to go to bigger wire, right? Then you'll lose your voltage potential.
Yeah, I don't see it making a lot of current because it's a slow frequency. It's a
Sean's asking if you can demo your Newman motor.
Yeah, sure. You mean in here in the StreamYard?
Yeah. Just turn your camera on it or something and.
Oh, it's not running now. I have the video of it. Oh, that's all I got of it running.
Oh, okay. If you got a video, that's cool. Pop it up and.
All right, hold on. Let me find it here. So I'll let this play in the meantime.
Oh, Nathan, you posted a video
so
today
it's
about Newman,
It's a
right?
relay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen that. Yeah, I was watching that for a bit.
And its function
He also.
is
Oh, Nathan, did you know Newman came up with a anti-gravity device?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, what he did was he took a helium balloon and he wrapped 30 gauge wire around it, a lot of it, and he weighted the balloon down with the wire so the balloon would be kind of sitting on the ground.
Okay.
And then when he start pulsing about 200 volts through those wires, the balloon came off the ground. It started levitating.
Huh.
And if he changed the frequency, like flip the poles, it would spin around 360 degrees. So depending on how he pulsed that power, would manipulate the balloon in the air.
Wow.
So it turned out if he scaled it up to say like a 30-foot, 40-foot balloon, the lifting capacity was quite high.
Gotcha.
So you might want to look that up. Joseph Newman anti-gravity machine. You might be able to find some stuff on it that might help you with some ideas.
Gotcha. Yeah, I got a video of Tom Bearden.
Yeah.
And it was like the best understanding of like a middle between what he was doing and what what was his name? Hutchinson was doing. And it was talking about the vortex and everything. I don't know if you caught that one. It was only like 5 minutes long, but it was like one of the best explanations I've ever heard of it.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. Everything, when you pulse power, it's going in a verticular motion. Electricity, like a perfect example of this is the ball bearing motor. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's two metal ball bearings with a metal shaft going through the two ball bearings. You have a positive on the one bearing and negative on the other one. And if you put, say, 6 volts at like, say, 10 amps in it, you can spin that shaft and it will start running like a regular motor. And Chris Carson and Eric Dollard built it back in the mid 90s. And to this day, Eric Dollard does not know how this thing spins. The only thing he can think of that comes anywhere close is the fact that when a charge is passing through a wire, it's going around the wire, but it's also a gyroscopic. It's in a spinning motion. So if you're applying current to a metal shaft with metal bearings, that current is spinning around the inductor constantly. Because it's on bearings, it actually forces that shaft in motion. And that's why the ball bearing motor, right? It's always any kind of electrical current that goes through it and it travels on the outside of the inductor is in a gyroscopic spin.
Yeah.
So if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Did you want to see that Tom Bearden video? It's like I said, it's only like 5 minutes long.
Yeah, we could watch it and pop it up and I'll remove this.
So I hit player.
Oh, you mean to stop it?
You got? Did you post it?
Yeah, it's up in the thing right now.
Okay, I got it.
Okay. Go back to it and hit play.
Filled with electromagnetic waves going in bidirections. Pick a frequency. There's a wave going in one direction and a wave in the other direction. The wave that's going backwards is an anti-wave. It's a time-reversed wave. And the vacuum is structured. This potential, a vacuum is just potential is all it is. This potential is filled with a harmonic series of these waves. And so it structures spatially by bidirectional wave sets. And it structures vertically in terms of harmonics. Now, if you then invoke this structure, and you do that with a nonlinear material, and you put in one wave in the nonlinear material, that material will take from the vacuum that excess structure because it turns everything into a potential, and it will put out multiple frequencies and harmonics. That's what nonlinear materials do. Interestingly enough, if you take time reversed waves and put in those harmonics, when they back up through, they will restore one wave. You can gather the energy and collect it and integrate it together and produce a single thing of much greater energy and lower frequency. And so what you have is the vacuum structures in frequency and spatially, and the connection are waves. And by the way, these waves do not have to move at the speed of light. They can have much greater velocity. Now, the importance of Whittaker's work is that he showed that if you were to take sets of waves that you made on the bench, you made a wave and its anti-wave, and you made the harmonic and its anti-harmonic, you'd have to have at least one interval. In music, we would call that an octave, from C to the next C, for example. If you had at least one octave or one harmonic interval, you would then have a structured vacuum. Now, you can build such sets as these any way you wish to, and each one of those sets is a special form that you can build on the laboratory bench. There is a set, for example, that contains the electromagnetic parts that generate typhoid. That's Kazanashev's work, and that's Kazanashev's death photons that have been shown to carry death and disease. That work has been duplicated in West Germany, or Germany now, and also has been duplicated in Australia and here in the US. It also explains the work of Antoine Priori, who built a machine under the proper scientific auspices and under rigorous testing on lab animals, which cured cancer and leukemia almost 100%. Some eminent French scientists worked with him. It's still in the French medical literature. It was real, it existed, it was squelched. But what I'm saying is, if you use the Whittaker approach, you can now, for the first time, understand how Priori's device worked, because that's what it did. And he used a rotating plasma to make his phase conjugates. We didn't even know about the phase conjugate in those days. Today, we know that one of the things plasmas do under the right circumstances is phase conjugate, or time reverse. And he showed that you can cure cancer, leukemia. You could just as easily set a pattern that would cure AIDS. He showed you could clean out clogged arteries. You could change the immune system, increase the immune system, bring it back up, which would be very valuable to AIDS patients, for example. For every disease, there is a pattern which causes the disease in this structure. For the cure to every disease, you simply take its pattern and time reverse it, and you get the precise electromagnetic antidote. You then put that inside a potential, as Whittaker showed how to do, and you treat the body with that, which is like like normal electromagnetic radiation. It's not ionizing radiation. It's not nuclear radiation. Expose them to a rippling magnetic field, for example, with these embedded in the field, and you cure the disease. And that's the kind of medical treatment we ought to have, not this cut them and burn them and poison them type thing that we have now. And many of them are still dying with cancer and leukemia and AIDS. It would take about 3 years. It would take a team of about 30-something people, facilities and so forth, about 3 years, about $20 million a year to deliver the ability to do that kind of electromagnetic treatment.
Cool.
Did you see Joel Legace talk about Tom Bearden recently?
Oh, yeah, I seen that, yeah.
He flat out said, "Hey, Tom's wrong."
Did he just
Not that I understood what's going on, but
yeah, he did. He did. Yeah.
Do you understand what he was talking about, or?
I do.
Is he saying like we can reverse the frequency?
Something about linear material.
Like Gerald does it with his core, with his coil. He's doing the same thing. He says it reduces the swelling and stuff right away. When he puts a certain frequency in one, I think it was 1501, and then what was it, 750 or so, the half of it, whatever it was. Yeah. So he put that on the other side, and then he put it in there, and it took his knee swelling down like within a day.
Yeah, because like Gerald's coils, if you look at most of his coils, there's no cores. It's all air core.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what Tom was just talking about. That same type of thing. It's a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So, Anyway, that was it. He just what he was describing was basically like my gravity flyer on the vortex that's created in the center. It was talking about the same thing between magnetic fields and everything else. It just kind of struck home.
Yeah. Not everything that Bearden talks about, I agree with. Some of the stuff, yes. But, when he gets into the scalar technology that Russia was working on and all this stuff, I think a lot of it's just folklore. But, some of the, a lot of the, regular physics that, Bedini was working on and Stubblefield and all that stuff. Yeah, that stuff's correct. But he does go a little bit out there.
I think everybody does a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I know Eric Dollard's not a big fan of him. Actually, he thinks he's done a lot of damage in a lot of ways. Because like I kind of flip. I like to listen to everybody's story, and there's some stuff that I like Tom Bearden does, and there's some stuff I don't like what Bearden talks about. I think it kind of hurts his credibility in some aspects. Same with Dollard. Dollard doesn't always see eye to eye with Ken Wheeler when it comes to magnetics, right? And Ken Wheeler has actually flat out said he thinks Eric Dollard's wrong in this one area. Flat out tell you. So, it's everybody has their ideas and what they feel is correct. And obviously, there's going to be discrepancies between two different people's theories, right?
Right.
I really like the idea of eliminating as much current as you can and gathering as much potential as you can, putting it across your load or your storage.
Right. That's where I think Newman, is really right. It's you don't need current to make a system work. You need voltage potential into a mass. Yeah. Mass is where the horsepower is created.
Didn't those little swinging pendulum devices that people would buy and put on their desks and stuff, doesn't that prove that what you just said there?
Sure, it does. Most definitely, it does.
It shows energy you the what do you call that? The swinging mass effect.
Yeah, the pendulum.
I guess
there's
the
actually a name for it. Yeah. You're transmitting a voltage potential or a velocity or equal and opposite reaction. If it's in a mass, then that mass will increase the amount of power that's generated.
That's why the mass keeps the momentum for you. Like a flywheel.
Well, no, it creates the spin. Say in Newman's motor, his stator was like 4,000 pounds. Okay, a lot of wire. So when he put 460 volts at 50 milliamps is nothing. But
I'm going to get you to watch for that right now. How many volts? 450? Okay.
For 450, 460, he was working with his batteries. But they were only putting out 50 milliamps, very, very little current. It's the mass of the wire of the inductor that was creating the horsepower within the motor.
That's 22 and a half watts.
Yeah. So 20 watts, it's not a lot.
It's enough to run that mass at bare minimum. I think that's what you need there.
It was, 4,000 pound rotor. He said, you showed one guy.
Pounds, yeah. He's turning a 4,000 pound rotor with 22 and a half watts.
Exactly.
So that's 0.05 times 450.
Yeah. So that pretty much concrete proof that his theory is correct. Because technically speaking, if you were to do that with a regular electric motor of that size, it would burn
20 watts
the battery
is not enough. It shouldn't be enough. 20 watts should not be enough to turn over that much weight. 4,000 pounds.
Exactly. Right. So it's the energy to mass. That's his theory. Energy to mass ratio.
He used potential to do it, not the wattage. The wattage was just there to get the potential to show itself across the load, which was the drive coil.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Hey, Gerald's on the chat.
There's the Mike. There's the pulse motor Sean wanted to see. I put it up in there.
Oh, okay. Here, I'll put it up.
That ran for 4 hours because the 9-volt battery that was powering the Arduino went dead. But it went from 27.5 volts on the source down to about 25 or something like that. And I think it would have kept spinning to like 22 volts.
Because that's why my Renegade device, I could run it with dead batteries, and the thing will just run hours and hours and hours. It's because I got a large inductor and a high voltage potential, not current. Because those batteries that I had, they were all they're 9-volt batteries, but they're all like 7 volts, 6 volts. But if you put multiple together, maybe the most I'm getting 20 to 50 milliamps out of all those little batteries because they're all dead. But it still runs the motor for hours on end, just runs and runs and runs and doesn't stop. So it proves Newman's theory is correct. It's voltage potential into a mass.
No, that's that coil driving. That's not exactly that completely Newman. I mean, it's got a lot less impedance than the Newman coil had. I mean, it's got 370 ohms. That coil is 370 ohms.
Yeah.
So
Newman says to get the effects that he was getting, your core has to be about 270 pounds.
So yeah, he had it. His coil had an impedance that had to be over 1,000 ohms.
Probably
for sure.
Yeah.
And that means what? Yeah. So he had 450 volts to get through that ohmage.
Yeah.
So he probably had like 3,000 ohms on his coil. That's a pretty high impedance coil.
Sure.
And it's not cheap to make that either. That's why I only was able to get 370 ohms on mine. I'm not gonna spend all that money on a coil, Yeah. No.
Could you imagine how
I can because I've worked with a lot of copper wire, miles and miles.
Could you imagine how much 4,000 pounds on a rotor would take? How long that would take to wind that thing?
That's insane. One 2-aught spool is about half that weight or less.
And all that wire was recycled. Like he had to have sources of copper wire through the yin yang, to accumulate that amount of copper. That's see, the problem with that motor is it would be the cost. You know how much copper is now? It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So all the stuff that he had was definitely in surplus shops and junkyards.
What did you say the gauge was again?
I can't remember exactly what gauge she was using.
He said Litz wire, no?
Was it Litz wire? It's possible, and that's even harder to find. Litz wire. Well, that's even finer, and it's fine wire too. Litz wire is fine. That's an enormous amount of wire.
I think he mentioned that if you can find Litz wire, it's or something like that.
It's probably the optimal multi-stranded wire, yeah.
Because you could just wire them in one end to do your series thing.
Yeah. But if I were going to make one, I would make the minimum requirement of the amount of windings. But still, 270 pounds. That's a lot of copper, man. That's a lot of copper.
Yeah, there's only 2.5 pounds here. And that was like $40.
Yeah.
Well, he must have some dough behind him, or maybe he just been saving.
But don't forget. Well, yeah, but don't forget, he was building these motors back in the early mid '80s, right? So copper was a lot cheaper.
Yeah, it was cheaper back then, right?
Yeah, that's 1980s. He was building those motors. Like the big one, the big Eureka. I think he built that around 2008, 2009 timeframe.
Yeah, but it's true. I fully agree with what he said. If you can get a large mass inductor without creating any, I believe he even said this, without creating any shorts or opens in it. I think I remember him saying that once. Then you have yourself a free energy machine.
Yeah,
something like
like
that. Very simply, because you have the
it's,
mass of the coil. You have all these turns.
it's 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 energy to mass conversion, right?
It's
That's what it is. It's energy to mass conversion. Everybody thinks power has to have amps behind it. That's actually
it's a
very far
wide
from the truth.
plane centrifugal, a wide plane vortex is what you're creating with that coil.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine the field he was creating in that thing? It
A
was probably
wide field, a very
enormous.
big field, very strong one too because of that voltage.
Yeah.
Very brief too, also because it was pulsed, right?
hmm Like he made a lot of motors that were like, the size of say like a coffee table and stuff like that, or the size of a kitchen table. A lot smaller, but still, in scale wise, it's still pretty big. You know,
Yeah.
But here comes down to the problem of practicality, right? To actually build a commercial unit that you could use to power your house or something like that. The thing would cost 50 grand, to build it. The idea is right, but you have to be able to scale that down to a point where you can still get the effects. He says 270 pounds. Okay, that's doable, right? You could say like your air conditioning unit outside your house. You could probably build a
I have a
motor
theory
that
why you can't
size.
scale that effect. I have a theory as to why you cannot scale it down, and it won't work scaling it down because the planet's a certain size. This thing, the mass is important to tuning into the rotations of the planet. And somehow
Yeah,
you need that to happen for it to keep rotating.
yeah. So like
And
if
it's
you're
not being
doing it
tuned in
in,
by air, it's being tuned in by electromotive force that the planet has.
yeah, yeah.
And you
So
need the
to
mass. You need the mass to get there because you have to get close to the size of this planet that you're trying to tune into. If you're like
yeah,
at a scale of a what's it called, a quantum scale compared to the planet, which is what a little Newman motor would be, which is what this one is.
right,
It's at the
yeah,
quantum
scale
scale
wise,
compared to the actual planet Earth. You have to
right,
get
right.
above the quantum scale. You have to be within the same plane of existence. I think whatever you
Well,
want
if
to
you
call it.
if you build a, if you build a motor like at the utility level, that's 30 or 40 tons, you know, okay, yeah, I think you got something there, and you could actually feed that into the grid, right?
Right, and something with that kind of mass with rotational velocity on a planet that has, whether it's
Like,
flat or round, it still has rotational velocity.
yeah, can you imagine, that thing actually working? Just seeing this 50,000, 50-ton machine spinning like that. I wonder how much power that would actually put out. Be very curious to see. But then again, that's a pulse DC. Now that's going to get remodulated into 60 hertz at 120 volts. In order to put that through into the grid system, right?
Right. No, well, the idea is to spin the shaft with pulse DC and generate your AC with the spinning shaft or the rotational locomotion. You can, like, instead of using a river or air, you use DC pulses to spin your alternator, your AC generator.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I see it. I don't think there's any other logical direction. There might be other directions, but I'm not seeing them. I see the pulse DC as being the most efficient way to not only keep solar wind generators rotating at a slow speed so that they never actually stop, which is a
Right.
great use of a DC pulse.
Right.
Things like that. That's what I see DC pulses doing. And the same thing for AC generators. You can drive your analog 360-degree torque AC generator with a DC pulse and a permanent magnet setup.
They use brushless DCs in your air conditioner. So
Now
They
they
have
do,
the-
yeah, because they want to
yeah.
say, because you'll buy it because it'll save you power in your electric bill, you know. And that's right, because it saves power, and you get the same, and you get better flow of air too than the AC. The AC is not supposed to be a motor. From what I understand, Tesla never designed the AC generator to be a motor, like period. But he went along with it because everybody wanted a motor, and I don't think permanent magnets and DC motors were quite there yet. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't think they had enough, magnet tech back in his day to make DC motors like they do today, which are everywhere now. They were around for a long time, but they weren't used like AC motors are used widely, and they just guzzle power like like an 8-cylinder.
Yeah, because it's always because when the ground comes back, it's fighting its own field, so it's always in this electromagnetic tug of war, right?
No, it's
They're
just a
really-
very efficient motor. I mean, it uses a lot of power for not needing permanent magnets. And so
Yeah,
when you go with DC, you can use permanent magnets and supplement the power that an AC motor would have to generate to be a motor.
right.
So the
See, the
AC
best
system
method-
was never supposed to be for a locomotion,
Yeah.
and Tesla
Yeah.
stated that.
Yeah, I think the
He
best.
said it was for. He said it's for power generation, not for
Yeah.
the other way around. Which is
It's like I think the best method that I've seen is the Steinmetz dynamotor. His dynamotor.
I thought he came up with the AC motor.
Who,
Didn't he?
Steinmetz?
Yeah.
No,
Tesla came up with the AC motor, but Steinmetz basically perfected everything that Tesla built.
Yeah.
So, he was basically the head of the research division for GE, and basically had an unlimited bank account as far as research, right? So, like the AC motor and numerous stuff that Tesla put out, he put in mathematical formulas and worked out all the bugs, and he was able to make something that was quote unquote commercially available to the masses. And that's what Steinmetz did, right?
Yeah, I remember
So
watching that documentary on it.
wait, you said
Sorry.
photovoltaic? What does Steinmetz do? Photovoltaic?
Oh man,
Or did I mishear you?
Mike, you there?
Yep.
You free?
I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry. I was reading something on the screen.
Yeah.
Sorry, I get a little sidetracked. Say that again.
So Steinmetz perfected the motor, and Tesla came up with the design for it, and Steinmetz
Right,
made it
yeah.
commercially available for everybody.
Yeah. A lot of switching devices, motors, generators. I believe Steinmetz had over 370 patents to his name before he died.
Yeah,
Actually,
I remember that part.
more. He actually had more patents than Tesla. Don't discredit Tesla. Tesla was a real engineer with real mathematic background and all this stuff. But I think Steinmetz was just at a little bit higher level of the mathematics. So, like him and Tesla, they worked together on some stuff, and they did collaborate on some stuff as well, right?
Yeah, and I
But-
remember he worked with Edison and stuff like that. Steinmetz did.
Well, yeah, Steinmetz worked with Edison. Tesla also worked with Edison. That ended in disaster. The Edison and Tesla started their war, right?
Yeah.
And then Westinghouse came into the picture and swept up Tesla, and then the war of the currents started with DC and AC. So, and we all know who won that war. So,
Well, it would have been better for AC to go across the big lines and then DC to be in houses. It would have been a lot better that way. It would be easier right now because of the conversion that we do right now everything converts to DC for the motors in your house. It would have been easier just to run the DC in your house.
That's right. Yeah, but at that time, you know what? Tesla was already in, you know, good relations with Westinghouse. You know, Westinghouse, he was very much a capitalist mind, right? And he already made his billions on the braking devices for trains. So that's pretty much where he got a lot of his money. And then also J.P. Morgan, he was that evil guy behind the curtain orchestrating all this kind of stuff. And he knew in the end that, you know, Edison was going to get screwed, and so was Tesla. I think J.P. Morgan was like the Wizard of Oz behind the scene, right?
Yeah.
Who knew that? Who knew it in the end? Was it Edison knew that, or
No, well, J.P. Morgan was
J.P. Morgan?
orchestrating all this stuff.
He knew in the
You know,
end.
oh yeah, he had all this planned. You know, see, back in those days, they had nothing but patent wars. It was
Right.
World War III going on with Tesla and Edison, patent war after patent war. And then it got even worse when then Marconi jumped in there with the radio. And Tesla says, "Oh yeah, that's a nice radio, but you're using 14 of my patents to make that radio." And that started another huge war. It was World War III in the courthouse.
Didn't the Marconi and all that stuff, all those patent wars, whatever, start around the World War One?
Yeah, that was right around World War One. Yep.
Those
And,
guys are busy dealing with those patent wars.
Oh yeah, it was constant, nonstop. Tesla was in court so many times. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it was it was a lot of backstabbing, and then you had Marconi saying, "Oh yeah, I invented the radio." Meanwhile, he's using 14 of Tesla's patents to make that radio. And then Tesla, in the mindset that he had, free spirited, he says, "Okay, just let him do his thing. Let him make his radio. Let him do his thing." But in the end, I want to be known as the guy who created those components for the radio.
Yeah, what did he say?
Marconi's.
He said something. He said the future is mine. Before he said that, he said something else.
Well, he also said Marconi's a jackass too. But yeah, there's Tesla wasn't the guy that really got mad a lot. But when you did piss him off, he would make some pretty outlandish comments, and Marconi was one of them. There was a couple times he got pretty heated discussion with him. But in the end, after Tesla dies, I think it's 2 years after he dies, Tesla gets awarded as the creator of radio.
Yeah.
Well, what good is that after the guy's been dead for 2 years?
When he got mad, didn't he throw stuff across the room sometimes?
Who's that?
Tesla.
All of us.
Tesla.
Is that you, Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be all of us throwing things across the room.
No, I just remember that tidbit from ChatGPT fed it back, and sometimes you can't trust the AI.
Windows 98.
Yeah.
It's like it says sometimes when Tesla felt frustrated that people weren't understanding his theories, or he would get so angry he would throw stuff.
I don't know.
I can relate.
I never heard that.
Yeah.
I think that's the first time I ever heard that one. I didn't know he ever threw stuff across the room.
It might be fake. I don't know. It was through the chat AI, so take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, maybe they start disinformation with the AI as well.
Well, look,
I was thinking the same thing, Phil.
Tesla is
when I looked
nothing
up,
short of a mad scientist. Okay.
Well, when I looked up information on Tesla for my preliminary research for Divine Science, I found a lot of information regarding his articles in.
And wasn't he abstinent? You got to let the steam out somehow.
But anyways, the point is, when I went back and asked the same questions, it didn't know what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Well, Tesla, I think he was abstinent. Like he didn't,
Well, no, apparently, no. Actually, it's funny you mentioned that. I was listening to one guy, a researcher on him. He said pretty much his social behavior ended at about 40. He says that after 40, there was basically nothing there. So, you did have relationships and stuff like that, but it ended very early because he got so engrossed in his work, right? It just became everything in his life. So, yeah.
Did you know also
But-
that? Did you know that with the AI, if the AI says something and then you say, no, that's wrong because of this and that, the AI will confirm what you're saying because he doesn't want to offend you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it never used to
Yeah.
do that though. When I was first using like Deep AI, it never used to do that, but now it does.
So you guys are
Yeah.
using Snowflake AI, huh?
Snowflake, yeah.
Oh,
Oh
for
my
God's
god, that's
sake!
hilarious! Snowflake AI.
I just want
Yeah,
to tell me the truth. I don't care if it hurts my feelings.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, if you hurt my feelings, you're better off. You know what I mean? To get an honest
Yeah.
conversation.
AI, the largest misinformation agent out there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It
it's
could
gonna
be.
go.
Oh yeah,
It's
right.
gonna go sick, man.
AI was doing the bot spamming in the beginning, wasn't it?
It's linked with Microsoft, so don't worry. It's gonna get into the disinformation tangent.
AI was doing all that bot spamming, on the chats, bots pretending to be people.
See, this is where technology starts being used in a bad sense. And that's the problem with I worry about AI.
I think they
In a
did
lot
that
of
for
ways,
the.
I think in a lot of ways, AI is fantastic, yes, but it can also be used for a bad purpose too, and that's what I fear the most about AI.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I mean,
I
it's
think
bad
they did
purpose.
that
It's
spamming
gonna
for the
get
election.
used to disinform us. That's how I can guarantee you it's going this way.
Yeah, it's like it's no different than our government. They act the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the deep
They
fakes now
tell
with
you
the
what.
AI making images of a fish with a dog's face.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, but
AI.
but it boils down to the actual, like, the internet wasn't even made for us. It was done by the early predecessor to DARPA, right?
What,
So
the internet?
the internet, yeah, because the internet, the first FTP protocol that was actually in operation was 1970.
Interesting you should say
Yeah.
that, Mike, because Facebook wasn't even made
Right.
for us either. It was made for Harvard.
That's right. It was supposed to be a closed circuit social media network for the university.
And then somebody
Right.
like Zuckerberg came in and, know
Yep.
the rest.
Yeah, he stole the technology and ran with it.
Yeah, he stole the Facebook code and went to California, got some investors, and started his own business with that.
And now he shadow bans half the people that are on there.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I'm
It'll
sure.
sound like
it's all
a
running on
techno-feudalistic
TCP/IP,
platform,
I get more stuff about this woman running for president than I ever did about anyone else in my life. It just keeps
text
flowing across
messages
the
too,
screen.
Nathan. I've been getting bombarded with the
Kamala?
text messages.
For God's sakes, man, just let it go. Just show both sides and be done with it. I'm getting
They
kind
need
of
to give
tired
up
of
on
it.
me. They need to give up on me. I'm not voting.
Dr. Shiva invented email, right? He's running for president.
Every 4 years, I vote for one of my kids. I have
That's adorable.
Yeah, because logged
Do you
in
really do that?
data. I do. Every 4 years, I vote for one of my kids. I've already voted for 2. The third one is before the age of 18. So forever, they will have a presidential vote. Forever, on record.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. No, I request and
I'm pretty sure the kids would do a better job than our governments right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you think
It's
if they
pretty.
like somehow if there is really an AI, an intelligent system, it would probably monitor that kid for life to see if they're really worthy of a presidential position, and it will probably landscape their life for them to achieve that point. Because
Well, what do you think the social insurance number is? It's our digital identity.
That's
Right.
Canadian social insurance number.
It's like the social
Yeah.
security.
Social
Yeah, you might as well
security in the
stamp
US.
a barcode on us.
Yeah, that's right. You might as well slap it right on our forehead.
Stamp your ass as a baby. Just boom. There you go.
Put a
That's
put
who
a
you
QR
are.
code.
Okay, do
Give you
you
a reason to cry.
when a baby's born, they stab their heel to test something. The disease is called the Ashkenazi disease, but the Ashkenazi disease is for a very minority group in the world. I mean, like a really really small minority group, but they still stick everybody, whether you're Chinese, American, or Indian or whatever, But it's
Yeah.
the characteristics of that people that carry the disease have red hair and green eyes, and
No,
that's
Mm.
well, Dr. Shiva talks about the Ashkenazi and all
yeah.
that stuff
They
that
test
you're into.
everybody.
Haven't even.
It's enforced by the government for that testing to happen. You cannot refuse it. Why? Because there's billions of dollars of funding for that test to happen, and somebody pockets that money. Although, really, if you don't have the genetic, like the genetics for green eyes and red hair, you shouldn't even be tested for that. Why would somebody that is, like, let's say, African American or Oriental be tested for that? They definitely don't have that. You understand? But they still, by law, they all have to be tested for that disease, and it's like billions of dollars go where we don't know for that.
It's all a scam.
Yeah.
I
That's
missed
it.
it. Which
It's just
disease
like-
was it they were tested for?
It's called Ashkenazi something, like the
Haven't
only,
even heard of that.
Isn't that a
I
Jewish
don't
sect?
know either.
yeah, only
I'm
the
I'm
have
And now
that.
they're calling it a disease?
I don't know. They say the Ashkenaz
It's
people,
a Jewish tribe.
Yeah. They're
Listen,
people that can carry, like, that have that disease. So if
you go into a psychologist's office nowadays with mild
Who's doing that?
anxiety, and you come out with bipolar and schizophrenia and all this BS. Like, they try to push pills on you. They try to. It's all a monetary thing. It's an incentive for profit.
Yeah.
yeah, well, if you're not part of that minority group, then there's no way you're gonna have it. Why would an Oriental person need to be tested for that, for example?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it doesn't make sense.
You know, why even come up with such a stupid idea like testing for something like that in the first place?
Exactly.
Let alone,
Yeah, and
you
this is
know,
what the heel stick when the baby is born. This is what they test for. This is it. My belief, it's more than that, because the heel has when the baby's born, like, it has the fresh blood. It has, like, the stem cells.
are you talking about when they prick
Yeah.
your heel?
Yeah, and they keep
I know what that is, right?
cryogenics for life. They keep that sample for as long as they keep it running in cryogenic units, and I don't know how.
Son of a.
Huh?
Son of
Maybe
a.
they're creating their own little Ark of the Covenant. You know, they got all the money
Yeah.
in the world.
Want to apply science to the
Our
whole.
money, tax money.
How if you how quantumly entangled to your own DNA, and if
Like, I don't like the
Well, maybe
idea. Of them
maybe
selling
they're
my
using it to
private
control us
data,
through
let
some
alone
kind of
that.
technology, right? I get your
I-
point.
that is in these, because you are quantumly entangled.
Like a signal generator.
They stress your DNA, you could probably in real life be stressed if they
Or even
put.
clone
Yeah,
you.
they have your biosignature.
Yeah,
They,
because
they can clone you
Sure.
if that's true. If they took our, you saying when everybody's born, they take a blood sample?
yes, they do. Yes, they
And
do.
For how
keep
long have they
it
been
on
doing
ice.
that?
Wow.
Since I had my first kid in 2004, I know that, but I don't know more than that. But I'm 100%. It's been done at least 10 to 15 years prior.
Maybe longer.
Why don't they test us for something useful, like being an Indian? I'd love to go on a reservation without a bunch of people around. You know what I mean? Do my own thing. Have no neighbors around me. You know what I mean? Get me some money from the casino. That's useful. Get all my blood you want. Tell me that I'm Indian so I can cash in.
Well,
Oh, Nathan and I will be passing around the peace pipe.
Nathan.
Yeah.
Nathan,
I go out in my chonies and get some peace pipe action on, man.
fall in
Do
love
some,
with
do some dancing with some paint on my face. You got it.
dude. Why don't you fall in love with a Native, American, and you get the same perks?
Yeah, well, it's already too late for that.
Just a hypothetical, but yeah, I mean, There are other ways around what you want. If you want really to pursue it, it can happen.
I swear my brother's an Indian. He goes out with no shoes on, man. It's 120 outside. He just walks around like it doesn't affect him at all. Had long hair, wears a bandana like Willie Nelson, you know what I mean? And the guy's just like, you can literally start hearing Indian music as soon as he's walking down the street. It's absolutely insane. At least maybe that's just in my head. But
well, as long as he
Grab
doesn't
some
look like
dirt,
Cheech,
taste it.
as long as he doesn't look like Cheech and Chong, you're okay, right?
he once threw a oh my god, a sledgehammer at the back of my tire, one of those handheld ones, because I guess I told on him or something to my dad, and he got in trouble. So here I am riding my bicycle, right? He got mad. He threw this big old sledgehammer at my bike. He hit the back wheel and bent it. And then he took out a blow dart gun and shot it at me and shot me right in my arm. I'm thinking, my God, the Indians are attacking. I got to get the hell out of here. It's just my brother down the street screwing with me.
Nice brother.
Yeah. I had a strange family,
paper blow
man.
dart? Is it the paper
Yeah,
blow dart?
Dude, it was literally a nail that he had taken and he wrapped some paper around it, put it in the pipe, and then boom, right at you.
Yeah.
And shot me right in my arm.
Work.
Stuck right in.
Yep.
Yeah.
They use them to hunt birds.
I got a lot of brothers, man.
My brother made one years ago when we were kids. He got, the tubes that they use for the towel rack. Well, he got an aluminum tube, made a dart, put a tiny little nail in it. He shot the thing once and went right into concrete.
Yeah. It's crazy the power you get.
It's stuck. Oh, yeah.
My brothers used to take shotgun shells with those pipes, man, and they just take a hammer and whack the back of it and let it shoot out the other end.
Right.
That was a crazy house, man. We, 5 boys, you get a lot of stuff. We used to go out with my dad nail guns, pull back the safety on them, you know what I mean? Tie it back with some wire. Oh man.
That's dangerous.
What are you drinking over there, man?
Oh man, they try to shoot birds as they come by, and who knows where all this stuff landed. But man, they sure tried everything. My brother shot himself in the ankle with it, and my other brother goes, well, let's go get the whiskey from the house, and we're just going to pour it on there, and we're going to yank this thing out for you. And then when my mom came home, I had to bring him to the emergency room to get it fixed. So, and then...
Oh, my God.
Explain that one to the doctor.
Oh, yeah.
I used to it's like on planet. Like, if there's mischief, I was there. Like, you name it, I was there. I one time people thought there was an earthquake. So my grandparents' building used to be on concrete poles, and then there's like a tiled flooring underneath. So I drilled little holes with a screwdriver, big, like little fire crack, those little firecrackers in there.
Yeah.
And I got
little cherry bombs.
Whipped them with lighters, and I put like maybe 100 of these in these little columns, concrete columns. And I said to all of them, I said, when I count to 3, all of you light up. And they said, all right. So I said,
run.
1, 2, 3. And all of them lit up the little, and it went boom. And like the building shook. My God.
Oh.
Like everybody in the building, people were coming down, like people half dressed, half this, like it was, and I stood there and I thought it was the funniest thing. Everybody like got so, I literally had to, everyone was throwing their shoes at me because, like it wasn't an earthquake, but when you're up in that high and you hear that, sound and the building shaking, everybody thought it was an earthquake. But by the time they came downstairs, they realized it wasn't. Guess who was in the trouble of their life? Me. Yeah.
The funniest thing we ever did, my father, this is going back years ago, he took one of those firecrackers that make a huge bang when it hits the sky. Well, instead of putting it upright, he put it upside down into the garden. So he stuck the top of it in the ground. So he lights this thing off. I'm about 10 feet away. Boom! It makes a crater. I kid you not, probably about 4 feet in diameter in the garden. because it
Fireworks?
launched into the ground and then came out. It
I
launched
thought
a
that-
stone. It launched a stone or a rock that was in the garden and it hit me, boom, right between the eyes, knocked me out cold. I was on the
Jeez.
ground.
But
Oh, yeah.
aren't fireworks illegal in Canada?
What's that?
Aren't fireworks illegal in Canada?
Busted.
No. No,
Yeah,
No, they're
No, they're not
Yeah.
illegal. Okay.
no,
My
only
grandma
in
had
certain
fireworks.
areas.
but maybe before they weren't, but these days they are.
Well, I
They're
know in
illegal
some
down here
cities
now.
they are. I know in Brampton, the city of Brampton, that's not too far from me. It's totally outlawed there. They can't do it because people are shooting each other with it. So they
Oh no.
yeah, they are. Oh yeah, they're picking them up and shooting their friends with it. So
What?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh
Oh
my
yeah.
God. What is going
So
on?
the city of Brampton, they've totally banned fireworks.
They
Is it like the
outlawed
Trailer
bottle
Park
rockets.
Boys?
Here it's only banned like inside the city, but if you're outside the city and there's no trees, it's okay.
Well, like it was not uncommon that during Canada Day or whatever, or Victoria weekend, you go out buy fireworks and you put them in your garden and shoot them off in your backyard. Well, now these idiots come in and they decide to have some fun with it. Instead of shooting it in the air, they shoot it at their buddy. So
Grown-ups or kids?
both,
All of the above.
all of the above.
Somebody's gonna win a Darwin Award.
Some of these clowns put them in their butts, man, and you see all the sparks
Yeah, I've
coming out.
seen that. Yeah, you get they're crazy. You get third-degree burns. Oh yeah, that's my idea of a good time.
Well, you get to the emergency room. What'd you do? I shoved one of these.
It's
firecrackers
inevitable.
in my ass.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hard
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
I think the Chinese, they knew what they were doing when they made fireworks.
Oh,
Yeah, so you can blow yourself up. Yeah.
You're right.
My great grandfather lost an eye because of fireworks. Like
Oh wow.
Sure.
my parents'
Oh,
grandfather.
It's
So,
actually common.
yeah, very long time ago.
yeah. Well, they got gunpowder in there and a whole bunch of other stuff. Yeah, it can be dangerous. Sure.
Yeah, like 5, 6 years old, something like that when it happened. Very, very young, but yeah.
wow.
But we're talking
But
like
nowadays, people are crazy now. They don't care. People start shooting each other with any kind of thing they can think of.
Yeah, they do.
Have you heard of the? I forgot the name for it, but they drive blind. They drive car blinds with blinded eyes. So it's a challenge. It was a challenge a couple of years ago.
Oh, that's smart. That's real smart.
Yeah, but people were doing that. It's like
Drive a
people-
car blind, you said?
Yeah, with blinded eyes.
Oh my God.
There was a name
What-
for
what's-
that, but I forgot.
That's what happens when people get bored. They create
It's
things
the
like
one of-
COVID. You get bored out of your mind. Next thing you know, you're driving a car blindfolded.
is it one of those trust challenges where like you have like a co-driver with you and then they tell you to go right and left while you can't see? Is that one of those things?
Yeah, something like that.
I've seen those.
Let me check it out. I forgot the name.
But you
When
know
I was
what?
a
Like
kid, we
people
used to tear up the golf courses after it rained because you could go out there with the car and the grass. And it's all slippery, and there's lakes out there. We would challenge ourselves to see if we could head towards the lake and brake and spin out before we landed in the lake.
Have you guys ever
And actually stop at the border of the lake. And I did pretty good at that. None of us, one guy almost ran right into the lake, though. But yeah, that's what we did all night long one night.
have you ever driven on a frozen
We
lake?
got away with it, though. They were looking for whoever tore up the whole golf. We tore up the whole golf course. It was like now made for dirt bikes, Yeah, the things you
Yeah,
do when
my
you're a
buddy-
kid and you can get away with
Yeah,
if you're under 18.
Yeah,
live YouTube. Just remember that.
I won't do that
yeah.
today.
No, a buddy of mine, he used to race dirt bikes, and his next door neighbor was getting a little pissed off with him because he was making too much noise. So the one day he went on his lawn and just laid a patch, just revved the engine out and popped the clutch. Did like,
Yeah, you spin out.
oh, he just ripped the guy's lawn up.
Oh, there's that too.
Yeah, apparently it's called the Bird Box
It grows
Challenge.
back though.
What? The
The
Bird
grass
Box
grows back
Challenge.
fast.
Not if you steal it, like Fun with Dick and Jane. You seen that movie where they steal the sod?
That Bird Box, wasn't that a movie?
Yeah, on Netflix. So some show on Netflix. And,
Yeah.
What is it called?
The Bird Box.
Yeah, it was a
Bird Box? I
movie.
don't think I've seen that one.
What was her name?
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock. Yeah, she was in that. I never watched it. This seemed like a dumb movie, but
I haven't watched it either, but I just see I see it on Netflix every time I scroll through movies. It comes up, but I have not yet seen it yet. But Sandra Bullock, yeah.
The sun.
Oh, if anybody, speaking of movies, there was a movie that I watched a while ago. I think probably about 4 or 5 years ago, at least. The movie's called Almanac. It's about a guy. His father worked for the government, and he actually built some kind of like time machine. It's,
Never
I
heard
don't
of
know if it's on. I don't know if it's on Netflix. Maybe on Prime. It's called Almanac.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I like time travel movies.
Yeah, yeah, it was actually pretty cool. It's more of like a kids movie. Like it's with teenagers, right? But they discover this guy's father. He passed away in a car accident, but all his gear was still in the basement, and he had this time machine. And the son and his buddies figured out how to get it running.
Oh, Project Almanac?
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of my
Yeah.
favorites. That and
Yeah, that's-
Primer.
I'm gonna.
Seen Primer?
Primer's. Yeah, Primer's good
Yeah.
Is
too.
that what
Yeah.
that movie's
Those are
about?
the two
I know the
best.
name. I never watched that movie though.
It's Project
Yeah, watch
Almanac. It's a great one.
Yeah, I like it. That's one of my favorite.
Have you of the Kozarov mirror?
Kozarov Mirror. I've heard of
I've
that.
heard of that movie too. Yeah.
That's not a movie. This is a real experiment. A real scientist,
Oh, sorry.
a Russian scientist that never finished his experiments, called the Kozarov mirror, and it's like a
Right.
yeah, you know how like in a
Is it? Oh, he was wasn't he a Jesuit priest? This guy?
I'm not sure, but
He was a priest, and apparently he made one called the chronovisor.
I know the chronovisor. It's supposedly it's in the Vatican, you know.
Right. Right.
But the Kozarov mirror is a you can replicate this experiment, and I'm planning on replicating this. I just need a like maybe a 5 by aluminum plate and
Right.
wrap it around and a circle, but with one open end, so it looks like a shell, like and you're supposed to do 2 stopwatches. One person sits inside of it and the other person outside of it, and like you synchronize the 2 stopwatches, and there's it's
All right.
time dilation.
Right. Time dilation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so this is
That'd be cool.
you replicate.
Yeah.
And so
Well, you can do that with any kind of spinning mass because when I was building the end machine, what's his name? Bruce De Palma actually did some experiments with putting an analog clock on the shaft axis of the spinning mass, and he was getting time dilation.
I should try that with the rodent
Time
coil too.
dilation.
So question,
Yeah.
wouldn't that constitute for time travel?
Sorry, say that again.
Well,
Constitute time travel, because if you're dilating,
It depends
Sure.
on your frame of reference.
yeah, time travel into the future. All you have to do is dilate time on the
Well,
body.
we do that right
Yeah.
now. It's called the
He
seconds
will
in a minute.
he will travel into the future, because
Yeah, well, there's two aspects to the time dilation. You have the perspective of time going by normally, and then the other perspective of time going by non-normally.
Yeah.
Or accelerated or reversed or whatever. So, it depends on which side of that you're on.
We don't know.
yeah. So
Yeah.
if you slow down, you will perceive time faster. So you will time travel into the future very quickly.
I'm down for that. I would do that.
And what you're saying?
But
You're
it's
saying this?
good. It's
You're
good
saying
for
this happens, and we
cryonics.
just wipe it off and
Oh,
rub
I
it
don't
off
know.
and say, "Oh, reset the clock.
There-
It's my battery."
There is a video. Oh, check this out. Some of you might have heard about this. There was a video posted the year that Mike Tyson was fighting Michael Spinks. And in the crowd, they zoomed in on this one guy. And this was around.
Oh, he had a cell
Yeah, it
phone,
was
right?
around. Yeah, he had a cell phone. He was taking a video of the fight. This was 1993. Cell phones haven't come out yet. So he's holding this device videotaping the fight. I'm sure the video's out there on YouTube. Look it up.
I've seen it.
Very interesting.
Have you seen it? Yeah.
I don't know why he's videotaping that fight. That fight sucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
Yeah, the fight
That
sucked.
video
What
of the bald
that was
dude.
what?
Did you guys see the bald dude who was fixing his plumbing under the counter? He said he ran into his older self under the counter through a hole.
What?
A light
Wait,
showed
what?
up under. Yeah, it was.
Didn't hear about that one.
And he has a video of himself, his older self, and they have the same tattoo on the arm in the video. He took it with his phone.
I'd like to meet my.
He went through the portal and met his older self. He was under his kitchen sink fixing his pipe when the portal opened. And he said he went through and he saw himself, his older self. They greeted each other. They were holding, hand over the shoulder, taking a selfie. And he shows the same tattoo of his older self, older face, younger self, same arm, same tattoo. I don't know, but maybe it was his dad. They got the same tattoo.
I got a similar story, but
He claims that it was he time traveled. He met himself and he videoed it and he put it on the internet.
I got a similar story, but I talked.
He didn't make no machine or nothing. He said the portal just showed up under his kitchen sink when he was fixing the drain.
Yeah, I think that's a whole.
That's kind of weird, huh?
I wonder how.
Anyways, guys. Oh, go ahead.
And I was saying, I wonder how he got back to show us that video. Because
it's on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Anyways, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. I know Bernie, I think he started his live stream. So I think a few of us are going to jump over to Bernie's channel and go from there. I'm going to shut my stream down now.
Gerald has he wanted to show his experiment last week at APEC, but he didn't. So he's probably going to show it up on Bernie's channel.
Okay, so yeah, we could all hop over to Bernie's channel after I shut this one down. Thanks a lot, everybody, for joining us. We'll be back again next Friday night at 9 o'clock Eastern. Also, tune in to Faraday Research for any updates. Guys, and lady, thank you very much for coming in tonight as the regular guests. And let's hop over to Bernie. He said right now he's going to send the link in about 10 minutes. So watch your emails, and you should get a link for his podcast. So everybody have a great night. Thanks a lot. And,
thanks for having me.
Chat soon.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you, Mike.
Yep. Peace. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
See you, Mike.
Bye.